Look, they say Vegas always knows, but does Vegas always know? JT Wistrcill of Locked On Utes here with me to discuss this mind-boggling point spread, which is Utah at UCLA, week 1, August 30th. Suddenly one of the most interesting games in all of college football after the Nico situation unfolded in Knoxville, now to Los Angeles, of course. But this line, JT, according to our friends at FanDuel, is Utah minus 3.5. Astonishingly, last week it was minus 1.5. Can you explain that to me, please? Because I look at that and go, should I bet a month's salary on Utah? Because what are we talking about here? Nico, UCLA, like, no way, right?
Yes, way for Utah. I don't see how this is going to be UCLA like steamrolling Utah. I think it's too many new pieces having to come in. Does Utah have some transfers too? Yes, but what does Utah have? They have all 5 starters on the offensive line returning up front. From a UCLA defense that is lost their 2 leading tacklers and has a lot more that they also have to replace too. So I really like what I think Utah will be able to do offensively, even though, hey, Devin Dampier, Utah's quarterback, threw 12 interceptions last year. So I'm not saying he's going to come in there and light the world on fire, but I am concerned about this. If I was a Bruin fan, I'd be concerned about UCLA's offense against Utah's defense. We know Nico's nice. That offensive line last year was not, and they brought in a lot of new transfer portal pieces. And what does it take time, especially for the offensive line, to do? Get on the same page communication-wise. Who is one of the worst teams you can play when you're trying to get on the same page? Utah and Morgan Scalley. Because what is Morgan Scalley going to do? He's going to blitz, and he's going to blitz, and he's going to blitz, and he's going to blitz. And it gets crazy. And you'll be like, wait, this guy's coming. Like, who's sliding over? Who's going where? And Nico is a guy. I think he's going to get pressured fast. This is not a wide receiver core, and they actually have a former Utah receiver on it in Mikey Matthews. It is not a scary wide receiver core, and I think it is a bad matchup for the Bruins because I don't think they're going to win the trenches, even on the other side of the ball. I mentioned their offensive line, let's say their run game, right? Utah, even though they don't have as great defensive tackles as they've had in the past, they are more than capable of taking on double teams, and Lander Barton's still back there. Levi Demooney's coming back from injury. He's a guy who's played a lot of college football, and Utah's got some nice DBs. I think this is a Utah team that is well equipped to beat this Bruins team. And I think this is the best time to get UCLA too, at the start of the year when all these pieces are starting and trying to come together. So I do like Utah in this game. And the more I dive into it, the more I feel really good from a matchup standpoint about Utah going in and making a week 1 statement against the Bruins.
I wonder if this isn't mostly driven by the odds makers knowing how big a story Nico was and the desire for people to bet on. Now, they bumped up UCLA's win total by 1 game from 4.5 to 5.5. I think I like the under there. They bumped down Tennessee's win total from 9.5 to 8.5. So they clearly view Nico as being worth 1 win at quarterback compared to what the alternative would have been. I don't think that's ridiculous. I don't think that's a crazy take. Nico can do a lot of really good things. Let's also remember, JT, it was the biggest games against the best teams and defenses last year where Nico struggled the most. Those were the moments where you watched and went, "Oh boy, he's got a long way to go." The potential is immense, and we've seen glimpses and flashes of it. Yes, that is true. But here's the other reason why I think this is this should be Utah minus 6 or 7. Because it's in Los Angeles. Week 1, like, this should be Utes by around a touchdown. Maybe a little bit less, because there is something to a team, isn't going to feel defeated in week 1. Everybody's optimistic, excited, trying to set the odds that UCLA comes out flat in this game, I don't think are very high. Same, though, goes for Utah. Whereas when a team gets down to, where UCLA could be this year, they're sitting 3-7. Yeah, you can come out flat late in the year because you're just trying to play and get on to the offseason and make as many improvements as you can. But the other factor is that Nico went to UCLA after spring ball, right? He didn't have spring camp. He's going to have fall camp, sure. But his time spent, you have 2 new transfer quarterbacks here, 100%. But the time spent for Dampier is countless hours more than what Nico's got with his teammates. I would legitimately feel better. I do like the Mikey Matthews pickup. I've always liked Mikey Matthews.
I like him.
I think he'd be a really, really solid number 3 slot receiver. Like, good football player. Not a game changer, but a good football player. I would feel better about this game for UCLA being at home if they still had J. Michael Sturdivant. If they had a true number 1 well-rounded receiver that can go and just cook somebody or make a big play on third down. I don't know that the Bruins have that with him gone. He's at Florida now. Great pickup for the Gators. But that quarterback battle, yeah, there are questions both ways. I give that advantage to Utah because you just had an opportunity to teach him the offense, get him in tune with his receivers. Like that makes a difference. Guys do it for a reason.
And Spencer, who was Devin Dampier's offensive coordinator last year?
His current offensive coordinator.
His current offensive coordinator, Jason Beck, the guy who developed him, like helped him grow into the player he is. Like he knows his skill set so well. It's a massive thing. Also, look, I do think that the Bruins, I think that this is a team that could be better this year, but they started incredibly flat last year. They came out of the gates not well and nearly lost to Hawaii. Spencer, you were there for Utah's first game last year, and they came out looking decent. And in the first half, they didn't even need to end up playing their guys. What ended up happening there, and it was Southern Utah, so different levels of Hawaii, Southern Utah. But either way, I'm not trying to take it personal, not trying to go at your T-Bird.
Good. You better not be taking shots at my birds.
I'm just making the point you were there.
I was.
But this is a Utah team where, like we said, we just know what we're getting with a Kyle Whittingham-led team. And it's just last year, when you look at what happened with Utah, they had bad quarterback play. Watch Devin Dampier and tell me whatever you think of it. Even if you think like he's not going to be a good P4, like, or not going to be a great P4 player. It's hard for me not to believe he's not going to be solid when you look at the other guys who make the jump from group of 5 to P4. He has all the makings to me of a guy who's ready for that next step, that next level. Because even if his arm struggles at times, watch Auburn, watch Arizona, these teams last year, try and tackle him. They can't. He only got sacked 4 times last year. He is incredibly elusive. He led the nation in yards per carry as a quarterback, was the only quarterback in the country to throw for over 2,500 yards and rush for over 1,000 yards. That's who Utah has. So even when plays break down, he's going to be able to make something happen. Find me a mock draft that doesn't have Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu. Utah's 2 tackles going in the first round. We already mentioned that those guys, they returned the 5 starters up front, but how about 2 of them? They're going to be first round NFL draft picks next year too. Washington State, you get Wayshawn Parker in there, 600-yard back too. So this is a Utah team. They return a lot of pieces on defense still. They have their identity. They added and tweaked some things transfer portal wise, and they needed to with how bad they were on offense. But the connection that Devin Dampier and Jason Beck has going way back, just the fact that this Utah team, Morgan Scalley does a great job of making quarterbacks uncomfortable. And this is this is the time to play UCLA to me, is early in the season, just like last year, because they closed the year well last year. The Bruins did.
They finished really well. They started, I think it was 1-5, and then ended up at 5-7, and I was better than I thought they would do.
And I think it'll be it's a very similar thing this year. I do not think it will start great, especially against a team like Utah. That's just a bad matchup for them. Utah's gone out there and won before. Bruins got them last time they were there too, but Utah has been able to lay it on the Bruins.
That was
new coaching staff.
That was like 4th-year Chip Kelly with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Zach Charbonnet. Like this is not that. I mean, it
could be a similar results.
Tino Sinceri, I think, will be a better offensive coordinator than Eric Bieniemy.
Agree. Well, yes. I mean, they're paying Eric Bieniemy $1 million not to be there, so obviously,
yeah. Nico is capable. I think Morgan Scalley's going to put his mind in a blender there. I've seen him do it with so many different guys, and Nico, with a great supporting cast last year at Tennessee, struggled in the big games. Can't argue the numbers out there, Bruins fans. You can't. And so by the end of the year, it could be good. He could be doing well, but week 1, game 1, I think UCLA should be grateful this game isn't at Rice Eccles, or it would be. Oh boy, that'd be
next year. Will be
Yeah,
so that's where
they could be better than that. Could be a better situation to be in for UCLA, even though it's on the road. But
got to upgrade the supporting cast if you're UCLA for me.
100%.
It's a bad matchup for them.
Yeah, the trenches battle on both sides, I think it favors Utah so heavily here. Quarterback advantage, coaching advantage, team advantage, like you name it. I'm all in.
Utah fans will travel well to this game, by the way. Like they will go well.
Bet Utah minus 3.5 while you can, if you are so inclined. I think that's Utes by double digits.